Hi guys, it's Dakota. Hope everybody is doing well. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hope you enjoy. And if you already subscribe, welcome back. I'm already having a tough time. If you already subscribe, welcome back. I'm so grateful that you have subscribed and that you like the channel and you keep coming back. Yeah, this is great. Um, Before I get started, I just want to send out um, love and support to all who were in the path of Hurricane Helene. Went through Florida and on up north and western North Carolina, which I am here, eastern North Carolina, the western North Carolina and parts of Tennessee. It is complete devastation. Complete. This was a historic event. I know people who've lost their homes, especially lost their businesses, some who've lost families, lost their pets. I just don't know what to say other than, we are thinking of you, we are supporting you, we're doing whatever, we can to help with this. And I hate to even say it, but in a couple of days, I think there's another hurricane expected in the little tail end of Florida. And right now, it doesn't look good. It's a Cat 3, and which I think was what Helene was, and it just pure devastation. My friend's mother lost her entire home. She it was just terrible, flooded out, lost her home, and can't recover from that. And so she's the family's taking her now. Anyway, so blessings to you and much love and support, and be strong. We're strong for you. All right. So today's video is going to be like completely different. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, so I usually try to keep my videos, and this one is a little tiny bit, but I try to keep my videos, based on witchcraft or, witchy things, Wiccan things, candle magic, herbs, all of those kind of things, right? I do own a metaphysical store, so a spiritual store. And so we have all the things, we've got herbs and candles and stones and tarot and oracle and books and statues, you name it, we have it. So my videos have usually very influenced by those things and how I work, what I think, that kind of stuff. If you've watched my videos, you know. If you haven't watched my videos, watch the videos, then you'll know. But today's going to be different. But I'm throwing in just a little bit of occultism in there, a little bit of witchcraft in there, and you're going to see why in just a minute. All right. So, and I am going to refer to my notes. So you're going to see me like kind of looking over here because I have to. This was just sort of it was a thing. I had something else planned. I'm going to do that in the next couple of weeks. But I didn't have enough material. You'll see in the next video, I didn't have enough material to actually do the work. So you'll see that in the next video. So I was going, oh, I really want to do a video, what I'm going to do. And then I went, you know what? I've had questions about this. And so I'm going to do a video on it. And, we'll go from there. All right. So I am in my dining room at my house, which is a cabin. And you can see behind me, let me see if I can turn this. Yeah, you can see we are very much into antiques and antiques, mostly primitive antiques. I would say 99.9% primitive antiques. I had an antique store. We had an antique store. We actually had our store, I believe it was a little over 13 years, and we were selling in consignment stores. We had booths in consignment stores with our antiques for about 4 years before that. And yeah, it was great. I loved it. I absolutely love antiques, especially primitive antiques. So I'm downstairs because in this case it was easier. It is a beautiful day out. Usually I tell you, if you're new, I usually make a point of saying, okay, I'm downstairs in the dining room because it's raining out or because something. And I call it the witch cottage. It's on the other, it's like over there in another building. It's a little cottage, and I prefer to do my videos over there. I love that little building. But when it's really cold, or if it's super hot, it's really hard to keep the temperature. It's not, temperature controlled. So we either have to turn the heater on, or we've got to turn the AC on, and that's got to stay on for a few hours before it's comfortable in there. So a lot of times I'm either down here in the dining room. Sometimes I'm upstairs in what I refer to as my devotion room. I don't really enjoy doing videos up there. I consider that a really sacred space, although it's very cluttered and hoardish. Yeah, sometimes I'm up there, and sometimes I'm at what we call the Witch Workshop, which is another building over there. And I use the kitchen. It's a house, and I actually use the kitchen over there to do all of my creative makings for my shop, making candles and oils and different things like that, because I don't have to, like, when time is up and I'm done for that moment or for that day, I don't have to clean up the mess because if I do it here in my house, I got to clean up my kitchen, before dinner and all of that. So I'm at the house and I can just leave all my witchy stuff there, and there, it is a house, and there's really no furniture in the house whatsoever, especially in the living room. There's not one lick of furniture in there except there is our altar. And so my circle sisters, as we call ourselves, we do ritual and stuff over there. So what does all this have to do with it? And get on with it. Okay. So over the past years, the past few years, I couldn't tell you how long, but um, from me doing videos in this space, I've had people ask me, what's that? What's that thing with the face? That thing right there with the face. Well, it is it's not new, but it's not an antique. It's probably maybe 15 years old or so. I'm not really sure. It's actually a picture. Um, and this whole area up here, I know I should have got it out to show you. I will. Hold on. So here it is. It's a picture. Isn't it cute? It's not signed on the bottom. Yeah, so that's what that is. Even though I'm just gonna leave that open. Even though I'm very much into primitive antiques, and then someone asked me about that. I also I'm into I collect, right? Not in a hoard way, except for tarot cards. That's different. But you can see, like, up here, the jugs. I have all different shapes, and they're in a size range. Batter bowls. I have any that you can see, but let's look at these right here. So wooden bowls. I have all different sizes, all different kinds. In this cabinet, this right here, this is a whole Alice in Wonderland set of candle snuffers. Now, again, they're not antique. Again, those are probably about I don't know, 10 years old, 15. Oh no, they're older than that. They're probably about 15 years old. Um, Back in the Victorian day, when they would before electricity and stuff like that when they had candles. So I'm saying Victorian. I don't know why that came out, but when they would have their meals at the table, especially formal meals or with company over and stuff, each person at their table setting had a candle, to light their area. And beside it, they had candle snuffers because it's considered rude and in witchcraft. For some, maybe not all, but for me, I think that it's rude for your ancestors or spirit guides or deity, whatever you're working with for that magic. We don't like to blow out flames. And so they were candle snuffers at each table. And that is a whole set of Alice in Wonderland replica vintage candle snuffers. So I couldn't got them at auction because that's where we spent the majority of our time buying. Most of the stuff in my house came from auction. So yeah, I collect things. All this green right here, jadeite. Yeah. So and everything is like whatever. Okay. So what is all this? So what this all is about is that face jug. I'd had a few people, talk about the video that I was doing or whatever. Can I ask a question? What is that face behind you? And I'm thinking, a face? What face? And then I realized they were talking about the picture. So I have something that I have collected over the years. I don't have many. I actually had 5. One broke, and that was a shame. I have 5, so I have 4 things now that are considered collectibles. And the other day I was like, because I don't have enough product to show you what I wanted to show you today. I'm working on it. It's getting there, but it's something that takes time to get the product together. I was like, oh, you know what? Let me show you guys this and see what you think. So I'm going to talk about it. All right. All right. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to put these notes here. It'll be easier for me. So I'm going to look down. Apologize. So I'm going to talk to you about face jugs. A jug. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. It's pottery, handmade pottery with a face on it, which was, which that's what gave me. I like, face, what face? And then I was like, oh, they're talking about this. And so then I went, let me show you something that's really, really interesting. Put that right there. Okay, so I'm talking about these pottery face jugs. And these face jugs, they date back to Egyptian and the Mesopotamian time period. Also Greek masks is part of that whole thing. A lot of other cultures as well. And so I'm going to show you, I'll show you the smallest one. This is not the first one that I got, but this is the smallest one. And then I'll go into kind of some history about them. Okay. All right. So this is the smallest one that I have. All right. It's made out of clay. Now this one is not an antique. This one is by May Apple Pottery, and it's here in North Carolina is where it was made. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can hold it while I talk. All right. So it was believed that these were used to store, and remember the time period, that these were used to store water in them. But later on, especially in the 1800s, there were all these theories about how these were used for magical and ritualistic purposes. So you see where I'm going with that one, right? You see why I was drawn to these for more than just that, though. And I'm going to get there. So they were also called, back then, voodoo jugs and also ugly jugs. Voodoo jugs and ugly jugs. Now, here in the United States, they were actually created, created in South Carolina by as we started getting into modern times. But in South Carolina, the African American enslaved communities, they made them with a certain type of clay that was considered sacred, and that clay was from South Africa that they supposedly used. It was considered a sacred clay. And back in the 1800s, the potters stopped using the sacred clay, and of course commercialized the jugs. And that was because money, for one, and I'm not talking about the enslaved community. I'm talking about the other community, because of money, like money, and people were drawn to them for whatever reason. I feel like I know what reason. I'm extremely drawn to them. So I'm holding it weird because I don't want to drop it. Everyone is different. Everyone is different. So when they started to commercialize them, then of course they lost their symbolic and magical powers. Perhaps they did. Here's another one. I cannot read it. I believe this is North Carolina. It almost looks like brown pottery. But I cannot read it. Hand signature. The other one, the little one, was stamped. So this was another one. Now I got all of these at auctions, various auctions here in North Carolina, South Carolina. Okay, put that down because it's kind of heavy. All right, so yeah, they lost their symbolic and magical power. Now, in some of the history that you might read on them, it's said that the moonshiners, the people would purchase these and put their moonshine in it, and then they would tell the children scary stories, because these were, this would be a scary thing, for a kid, and you tell them that you don't want to touch that, stay out of that, because that's a scary monster, or it's an evil thing. So this is what they would use to keep the children out of things they weren't supposed to be into, like moonshine. So it was very common for these to be called moonshine jugs as well. All right. They were also, let me set this one aside. Stay. I'm going to say my favorite one to last. I don't know why I like that one last. All right. Ooh, and they're getting heavy. Okay. Here's the next one. And you can see that they all have big eyes, crooked teeth, if very over exaggerated things, I guess, features that they had. This one is Dale Koshner, Shelby, North Carolina. Oh, heavy. Ugh. All right. They were often also used as grave markers for the enslaved community, because they were not allowed to have graves. They were not allowed to have graves, and or grave markers, I guess I should say. Like they didn't have formal funerals and all of that stuff. It's very, very disgustingly sad. And but so these would be used as grave markers, and either set like the family of the deceased person would either set it near where the person was buried, or if they could, they would put that directly where the person was buried. But a lot of them were actually found along the railroad. Yeah. And the Underground Railroad. So they were put as grave markers because that was said that they would ward off evil spirits and would scare the devil away. And if the family went back to visit the grave, and the face jug was broken, for them, that meant that the soul had been set free and went to heaven. So I like that part. All right, here, this one is my favorite. Ugh. I just love him. That dude is so cool. Look at him. Smoking a cigar. Randy Tobias. Pretty popular name in the face jug pottery business, I guess. Yeah, I love this one. The first one I got that broke, it was a small one, kind of this size, kind of this size. Um, yeah, and it broke. Anyway, okay. So now, but here's the thing: when I talked about how, they stopped using the sacred clay, and that took the magical power and their symbolic magical power away from them. Now, it's possible that those that worked with these in that sense, not the commercialized people that were just making them and selling them and stuff like that, for profit, but the ones that actually believed this was their culture and they believed in it. Um, for me, and I was going to say this one here. What's really funny story about this one here is I got this one. This was my first one. This was the first one I bought. And, it was, my husband was looking at me like, what are you going to do with that? And I'm like, I'm keeping it. I absolutely love it. And so I had it for years, years. And then I met a guy, because I'm not going to give out anything. I met a guy who happens to work conjure, root worker, and the conjureman. And that looks like him. It doesn't look like him, but I mean, it kind of does. It definitely reminds me of him. It's really funny. And so when I was talking to him and I was showing him the jugs, and I said, yeah, and it's a bummer that, maybe they did have power in them and now they've lost their power. And he's like, doing the head scratch, and he's like, put the power in it. You put the power in it. Put the power in it. What are you doing? What are you talking about? It may not have its original power, but maybe you can wake up the original power. Did you ever think about that? And so you can put the power back into these. You can do root working with these, spell work with these, use these for protection. I have these, well, the first one stays right there on that cabinet that I showed you. It stays up there on the hearth, the fireplace hearth. And this is our living room, or, well, living room. This is our dining room area. You don't use it. And the other three that I showed you, those are in the living area, the living room area. And so, I have cleansed them, and these are not original pieces. Holy cow, they would be worth a lot of money. But they were especially the big one, they're very expensive. They were very expensive, even though it was not, you know, back like an original. Oh, that would have been so awesome. But yeah, I cleansed them. You can put, this is a, they have the glaze on them. They also have, I wouldn't do it with this one because the hole is so small, but the other ones, the holes are bigger. Like this one, for example, it's almost like a vase, kind of. Well, and the inside is, you can't see it, but the inside is glazed. So, and not that that would matter so much, but herbs, I've put herbs in there. I have, when I do my cleaning, just regular house cleaning, I put, like, I just got done cleaning these before I came online to do the video, and I clean them with a lemon oil. And so you can put the power back into those if you want, if you want. I've never used any of them on my altar for spell work. I never have. Um, One, I don't feel the need to. And second, I just really haven't had a call to do that. But I love having them around. I absolutely love them. And there is, I'll leave the link at the bottom in the description, blackpotter.com, and his name is Jim McDowell. And I think it's his great 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 grandfather was actually enslaved, and passed stories and all of that on through the generations. And Mr. McDowell is actually a potter, and he actually makes face jugs. And so I'll leave the link at the bottom, and you can read, you can go to his website and see all of his stuff, and get a little bit more information about, you know, the history and stuff. But that, in all truth, unless there is something else out there with a little more information about the face jugs, there is not a lot of information about them. And, you know, we know the reason why, because it was an enslaved population, an enslaved community that, and, you know, they had zero rights, and were, you know, it wasn't a good time. It just was not the best of times. And so I honor these, you know, I honor these in honor of that, you know, in honor of the past. And I give them as much respect, and they are right where anybody and everybody can see them, including myself. I just absolutely, I like them a lot. And so, although it's not this guy, it's not this guy, but he's a cute little guy. Oh, look, we kind of look like we're family. Goodbye, cheekbones. Yeah, we do. Yeah, cool. All right. I'm starting to get silly, so I'm gonna go ahead and end here. But I just want to thank those, and there's only been a few, maybe two or three that have asked me about the face, and that through that has inspired me. And this has been going on for a couple years, where, you know, people have asked about it just randomly, and I just never thought anything about it. I just said, oh, it's a picture, you know, like a Kool-Aid pitcher or whatever, and I didn't really think about it. But I wanted to do a video on something else, and when that didn't come through for me, I just, you know, didn't have the right amount of product. I was like, man, I want to do a video today. I feel like it. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I want you guys to meet them, and I want you guys to know, you know, the history. And please check out the website and learn a little bit more about them, and about that time. And honestly, please, if anybody finds any more research on them that gives more information on them, I would love to know it. But it wasn't anything that was history, you know? I mean, it's definitely history, but it wasn't history that was written out, sadly. But I absolutely love them, and I enjoy them, and I feel very privileged to own some, even though these are not. I would say that this one. Oh no, it's this one. Nope. um, I don't know. I would say that they're probably, well, I don't know how old they are. I would say that I started collecting them. The first one that I showed you with the cigar, that's been easily 15 years, if not more. So, not vintage, it's not antique, it's not originally made. Oh, that would be awesome. But you know, the message is there. At least it was for me, and the power is there, especially through me, and I think at this point for me. And so, yeah, so I just haven't ever felt the need to work with them in that thing. they have a place of honor on the altar, on the mantle there, and on a big shelf in the living room. And yeah, I appreciate it and respect the times. And yeah, you know, it's a good memory. So there you go. I hope that answers your question. Oh, and so if there's anything like you see at any time during my videos and you're like, hey, what was that? What was that? What's that used for? Let me know. I love talking about antiques. And yeah, I can give you a little bit of history. Some maybe I can't, but yeah. I mean, I had to know the history when I had my stores, so I would be, you know, nosing the books and online trying to get history from them. And yeah, I have a lot of things. So whether it's here, whether it's I don't have it, you don't see anything in my devotional room except a little whatever it's called, tapestry behind me because that's my private room. But if I'm at the witch cottage or the witch house, yeah, you want to see something, let me know. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Please stay safe, everyone. And prayers, light a candle, say prayers and support. Thank y'all for watching. I'm going to see you next time. Bye, guys. Love you.